Hey everybody, this is the Congress guy coming back with another video finally after a couple years. Today we're going to be looking at this beautiful lacquer bag. I know it doesn't look like much from the box here. The box is not in the best shape, but anyway, this is Storm and it is dated somewhere around 1897. And we will look at the tax stamp on that is how we date this one. So this one will carry the US 6cc Ace of spades. This is one that you haven't seen yet, and the very rare version 3 Dundreary Joker. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We also have a name on the top of the box here. As we look at the top, Mrs. Alex R. Jackson, 526 Lockhart Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we will look into that person as well. Now on the back of the box here, we have Extra Congress, which is what they were known as in the 1880s and 90s. Number 606, Extra Congress Playing Cards, U.S. Playing Card Company, Cincinnati, USA. And we have a tax stamp here. It looks like September 2nd, 1897. So without further ado, let's get into the cards. Okay, first of all, we're going to look at these beautiful gold edges here. They've held up quite well for well over 120 years. Actually, probably about 127 years. So let's take a look at the cards here. And this is what I mean by it looks better outside the box. It's beautiful, that blue with the gold ink. This is the Japanese lacquer style artwork. Solid color backs, borderless with gold or sometimes copper or even green ink. In this case, gold ink. So you got the Japanese boy there running from the lightning. With a dog right next to him running away with him. So let's go ahead and look at some of the cards here. So let's start with this guy here. This is Lord Dundreary on the Joker. So this is what we call version 3. I think there were 5 different ones. There were 3 first versions, 1 second version, and then this one. So you got the beautiful oval border here. You got more, about 3/4 of Dundreary's body. Beautiful flesh tones there on his hands and face. And this is one of the more rare cards. I mean, this value on this card alone will rival most decks. It's very hard to find. I was very lucky to get this deck at the 52 Plus Joker 2024 convention. At their main live auction this past October 2024. So that is Mr. Dundreary. Now we'll go ahead and look at the US 6cc Ace. Not quite sure why they use in the Hockman the designation CC. The US 6C usually you find at the end of the 1800s into the early 1900s, right around I think 1898 or 9, maybe, until about 1901. So you got Extra Congress, number 606. No date code, so this predates the USPC date codes. And now we'll go ahead and look at some of the cards here. Bear with me, I'm doing this one-handed here, so it won't look the cleanest, but we'll go ahead and look at some of the cards here. These are the version 5 court cards if you follow along on CongressPlayingCards.com. And you will see, I think, around 15 different styles of court cards used throughout many decades. There's the Queen. And the Jack. They're using flesh tones here. Then tens. And now we'll look at the hearts. And let's go ahead and focus in a little bit here. You see this little thing right here? So there's still some debate in the antique community, but that has been researched heavily, and it appears to be a maker's mark. And by that, I mean this is the symbol during this time that United States Playing Card Company used to identify the decks that they produced. On some older ones, there'll be more of like a star formation, almost like a 6 point, if you will. There is a wonderful website out there that will document all these different maker's marks. Go ahead and look at the queen and the jack and the 10, and then we'll move on to the next suit. Here we have the clubs. Just beautiful artwork. I mean, they're just standard quartz, but I think just back then they had a little better quality to them, I guess. You got the real thin indices there with the standard pips. Now we'll go to the final suit, and we'll round it out with the diamonds here. And we have one little minor issue here. As you can see on the 9, there is a crease, 2 creases. It will affect value a little bit. Generally not too much when you're dealing with cards these desirable. But, you know, exceptions are always made. And then here's another look at the beautiful back design. So I talked about the name that was on the box here. It's a little hard to tell since it has Mrs. Alex R. Jackson, 526 Lockhart Street, South Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, if there is a South Pittsburgh. I did find the building that's there. And anyway, so usually we find some names attached to boxes. In this case, we have a woman's married name here. So you can kind of see in the inside the box here, still in great shape. So Mrs. Alex R. Jackson, so her name was Amy Louise Jackson. Her maiden name was McFarland. In 1890, Wayne County, Nebraska. She moved to East Cleveland, Ohio at some point. Her father was in real estate. In 1914, she married Alex Robert Jackson of Pittsburgh, who was an electrical engineer. At the time, he was 31 and she was 24. They lived at this address, 526 Lockhart Street. From 1917 until sometime in the 1970s. He owned the Eclipse Garage and the Jackson Plymouth Chrysler dealership in Pittsburgh when he finally passed away in 1974. She died on July 6th of 1982. This apartment building was built in 1891 for Joseph Lautner on the site of an older house which Mr. Lautner lived with his wife and 4 children. When they moved to Liverpool Street in Manchester, England, I guess, in 1889, they had the house demolished and the present 3-unit apartment building erected, along with a double house behind it at 537 and 539 Avery Street. Mr. Lautner owned and operated a hardware store in the 700 block of East Ohio Street, demolished for the Parkway North. The apartment building was restored between 2005 and 2008. As of today, no photos of the original house have been found. There's also no information when this deck was purchased by the Jacksons or who it went to afterward. The tax stamp has a cancellation of 9/2/1897. And this is the only deck that I wanted to get in the auction, or the convention for that matter. You know, it has the Ace of Spades that I needed, and it has that Dundreary Joker. So that's a little more information about the deck. And I'm glad you are able to join me again to take a look at this beautiful Storm deck. Kind of spread them out here. And there you go. Again, thanks for joining me. This is the Congress Guy, and hopefully soon we will have more videos to show you. Thank you.